Canada's deal with China could complicate the coming renegotiation of the Canada-U.S.-Mexico agreement. That's the message from U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick this week, following the Prime Minister's speech in Davos and after his trade mission to China that saw the countries reach an agreement allowing some Chinese electric vehicles into Canada's market in exchange for agricultural tariff reductions. How serious is this latest threat to North American trade talks? Let's bring back our front bench: Christy Clark, Marco Mendicino, James Moore, and Tony Clement. James, I'll start with you. What do you make of the U.S. reaction? It's been a bit mixed. Jameson Greer was not as outspoken as Howard Lutnick, but Lutnick went pretty far today.
With respect, Mr. Lutnick can say whatever he wants. It doesn't really matter. It's the president at the end of the day. And when this was announced, or when the news of the agreement came out with China, that Donald Trump sort of nodded, and his instinct was, makes sense. He would do it too. It's a deal. By the way, Donald Trump has all kinds of dealings with China on his own. He has family business there. He has connections there. He understands that China is Canada's second largest trading partner. There's nothing about the Canada-U.S. relationship that's jeopardized by us reopening the canola market into China. There's nothing about us selling more pork and more beef and more lentils and more products into China that is detriment to the U.S.-Canada relationship. There will be some challenges for sure if you look at the issues of transshipment and about intellectual property theft and all that, which is why I think the Prime Minister was correct to fence off specific commodities where we can have more bilateral trade with China that do make sense. You have to create Canadian jobs through world sales, and exploiting growing markets around the world is logical for Canada, as it is for the United States, who signed their own agreement with China not that long ago to have a standing down on some of the tariff walls that were put up between the two countries. So, look, Tony was right a minute ago when he said, the phrase New World Order while in Beijing sitting next to Xi Jinping is probably not a phrase you'll hear the Prime Minister repeat, but saying that we should take advantage of market opportunities that exist out there on a commodity by commodity basis makes perfect sense for Canada. It's the logical thing to do when the trade relationship with the United States is under threat by a president who is unpredictable from hour to hour.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing to have watched this week and into the coming weeks, Christy, is going to be, like, clearly in Davos, the Prime Minister took a position that he had not articulated as such around the Trump White House, even though he didn't name Trump by name, right? And at a time when there's a lot at stake for us, just as there has been over the last number of months, but obviously in the coming year with the CUSMA renegotiations. Do you ultimately think it will make a difference?
No, I don't. Look, first of all, the Americans have also speculated that we don't need CUSMA anymore. Maybe they won't sign it. I mean, it's not like they're sitting there saying, hey, wait a minute, this is a really important deal for us and we're going to be there for you, whatever happens, and just don't do this deal with China. No, they're speculating that they won't even deal with us. So you can't say, well, we don't want to deal with Canada, maybe we won't have one, and you can't have any deals with anybody else in the world. It's ridiculous, and they know it's ridiculous. I think they're positioning, they're trying to get out there and make some noise about it because they probably feel like they need to. But China's the second biggest economy in the world. It's proximate to Western Canada in particular. They need what we have. They want what we have. And for years and years, we have traded with China since the 70s. We did it, until Justin Trudeau shut the doors on it. We were friends, we were economically tied to China in lots of ways without threatening our relationship to the United States. So I don't think they expect that we aren't going to find allies and trade partners around the world. They wouldn't do it, as James said. The president himself says, it makes sense for us to do it. So, it's positioning. I don't see much more to it than that, but I will say, thank goodness we are trading with China, because our farmers in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, British Columbia, and Alberta need this work. And if when Prime Minister Carney says he wants to get Canada working again, he wants to create more jobs, the vast majority of those jobs are going to happen in Western Canada. It means we need reliable trading partners in addition to maintaining our position as strongly as we can with the United States.
Tony, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that Mr. Lutnick is not the deciding factor here. James is right. It's President Trump, obviously. He seemed to shrug his shoulders when the trade deal was announced between Canada and China. So I don't think a lot turns on that. What I do concern myself with was some of the language, again, that Mr. Carney used in Beijing. I've already litigated that fact. But the other thing, and I think, Vashi, it was on your show, it came to my mind again just a few minutes ago when you were interviewing the international trade minister. Well, you know, this trade relationship with China could mean that the Chinese are investing in our oil and gas sector. They're taking over our critical mineral supply chain. You know, what do you think of that, Minister? Oh, no, we're just talking about minority interests. Well, the Chinese are not interested in minority interests, Vashi. Believe me, I've been down this road before, as James has, as former industry minister. They want control. And so this whole naive idea that we're dealing with another friendly country, China, who can invest in our resources and our patrimony without implication for jobs and the future of our economy, that's just naive, Vashi. And that's what worries me the most about this.
Marco, your thoughts?
Yeah, I disagree. And I disagree fundamentally for several reasons. Look, when your number one trading partner and your closest friend and your ally imposes tariffs on you on the basis of specious national security grounds, when they say to you, join us in imposing higher tariffs on other rival powers, and we join them, only to then be told later, we don't want to build cars with you, and we want all those jobs on the Canadian side of the border to come back home. And what do you expect us to do? I mean, we're taking a hint here. And so the hint is, and I think this also cuts to the core of why the Prime Minister invoked Havel, which is that we can continue pretending as though the old system and the old covenants are being adhered to, or we can open our eyes and see the truth, which is that we are in a new era. And we will negotiate in good faith. As I said at the outset of the program, Canada chooses to coexist with our friends and our allies. We much prefer to negotiate in good faith and get to a deal with the United States. And in the interim, if we can't, we will go out and we will strike new deals and new partnerships. And that is what the Prime Minister was saying, is that we're taking that sign down and we're going to choose candor and choose honesty, and we will negotiate in good faith. And yes, we will do those deals in a way that not only benefits our partners abroad, but that benefits Canadians here at home.
Okay, somebody's alarm is going off. I don't know if that's telling me to stop talking or what,
but you can hear us.
You can
the audio's working.
Yeah, I can hear everyone perfectly. Yeah, I will leave it on that note. Thanks for a great discussion as always. I appreciate all of you making the time. Marco Mendicino, Christy Clark, James Moore, and Tony Clement, our front bench.